Hello, Mordarim here. In today's video I want to show you an amazing Mage Knight build, combining melee combat and spells while wearing heavy armor. I really wanted to get this one right, to create a Carian Knight straight out of Elden Ring, and I feel I just got it right. From the amazing looking armor to magic enhanced melee combat, everything feels just incredible. It's fast paced, tanky, visually satisfying to play, and offers more than just your standard 3-hit combo. First, let's have a look at the gameplay. Your bread and butter combo consists of standard attacks, combined with an animation cancel into a blink dodge action and an evade attack to finish it off. Late in the game, you will encounter tougher foes with more complex attack patterns, with much more variation in terms of enemy design. This will demand of you not to only use your light attacks, but to dodge and weave in hits whenever you manage to isolate enemies or successfully fish for attack windows. Your block and parry are also crucial to your survival. Additional to this, you have your magic: fireballs, ice balls, channel lightning, meteors of shroud magic, poison carpets, and even an AoE light explosion. All of this is at your disposal. And we can also additionally take quite a beating with a huge amount of constitution, intelligence, strength, and armor. All of this supports our playstyle. We can actually min-max this character to be on par or even better than a pure ranged character. I might even put this one above my mage character just in terms of fun. The pure mage can be better because of the better scaling for range attacks and high damage, but this one has a higher variety in terms of gameplay, especially when it comes to AoE damage. For this one I also made sure to pick up some crucial utility skills in the skill tree to make mining and traversing the world much more enjoyable. Combining the double jump with the enhanced gliders makes for an amazing mobility tool, allowing you to speed through maps. However, I have to put a disclaimer on this. The endgame features are very hostile towards melee playstyles. There is a lot of ranged flyer type enemies, and there is suicide bombers, red glowing critters that run to you and explode when they touch you. Those are nigh impossible to hit with melee attacks, and even if the flyer decides to land on the ground beside you, you are most likely not going to sustain through their damage. So the use of spells is mandatory, be it heal spells or damage spells, which is fitting for a Carian Knight. Next, let's have a look at the attributes for this build and how to progress your character. Constitution is the most important stat in this game. You have to have a large health pool in order to be able to tank hits. With the right setup, you can get above 1000 health, which prevents you from getting one-shot even by the most punishing mechanics in the game. Next, we will want to boost our intelligence stat a little bit because of a regeneration skill we get access to through the skill tree. This one just generates a ton of additional effective health. It's probably the most busted perk in the entire game even. But intelligence is not only here to heal us, it also scales our damage through spells. However, strength is what we use for most of our damage. Since we are a melee character, we want to hit things. Luckily, you can also boost all three stats through food, admittedly only late in the game, because mushrooms and vegetables collide with each other, so you can only use one. There is meat, vegetables, liquids, and lastly sweets. So those are the 4 types of food you can consume. Late in the game you will find soups, which are considered liquids, so you can boost multiple offensive stats. Additionally, as a note, you have 114 points at your disposal to distribute in the skill tree. Next, let's have a look at my armor and my weapons. For the weapons, we have a wide variety of things to consider. Your regular melee weapon will most likely have a lot of cutting damage and a little bit of piercing damage. Same for the axe, both of which feature a lot of cutting damage. So that's what we are going to skill in the skill tree. Then you have elemental weapons, like for example the ice blade with ice damage, the light forged axe with fire damage, and the hair splitter with shroud damage. All of those weapons can be easily farmed with the farming guide, which I released just yesterday. As for the casting weapon, go for the Shroud Weaver. This is the best ranged weapon in the entire game. It can go above level 25 with level 30 as a starting point and can scale up to 35. I have not upgraded this one yet to max, but it features great damage in form of additional fire damage. As for the character, we go with a melee crit chance and crit strike damage helmet, so that's a great option. For your chest you have 2 choices to make. I personally went with the magician's chest because it looks absolutely amazing from behind. I look like a perfect Carian Knight, but for the most optimal chests I would highly recommend going with the soldier variant, which offers a ton of additional physical resistance, which is important, very important for the endgame, and a little bit less magic resistance. Magic damage is not as common as physical damage, so having that additional physical resistance is crucial. This chest also features 240 health, which is absolutely amazing. Another chest that I can recommend is the Warden chestplate, additional physical armor points and 120 health, both of which are completely fine and top tier. In the previous tier I can highly recommend the Mercenary chest, but I really didn't like the look, so I decided for the inferior version, which can be found at the Alchemist with the Magician's chest. This one features a high magical resistance score, a ton of additional health and mana, and is easy to craft. The Archmage chest is the equivalent to the heavy armor one, but this one features no cape, so that's nothing I want to go for. Which brings me to the gloves. I'm currently rocking the Guard of the North gloves, which feature magic damage and melee damage, so it scales my whole damage repertoire in just one slot. There is the option of Deathstalker gloves. They have the effect of damage multiplier on them, so I crafted them and tried them out. However, those gloves do not improve your damage at all, so this one is a damage multiplier for ranged. It is not a damage multiplier for all damage, just ranged. So what you want to craft is either the Soldier gloves or the Rogue gloves, which have the same effect, just flipped. They cost 3 padding instead of 2 padding, so I highly recommend the Soldier gloves. As for your pants, we are rocking the Eagle Eye trousers, which feature 50 physical and 50 magical resistance, stamina and +1 sprint speed. Those pants can easily be farmed in the chests I have highlighted in my previous video, showing the best farm in the game for equipment and for weapons. The crafted version are the Deerstalker gloves. I know those are pants, but this one is labeled wrong. Those feature less physical and magical resistance, cost a lot of padding, so I highly recommend farming the Eagle Eye trousers. And for the boots, I found the Spellbinder boots, also in the chest, gives you health regeneration and stamina regeneration. In the endgame I found this one to be really important, so I got those. Another set of great boots are the boots with health regeneration and health timeout you can find throughout the whole game. Warlock boots are the best for this. You can also craft the heavy version, which are the Soldier boots, but the health timeout is much reduced, but it features physical resistance. For the rings, the Commander ring is amazing, 30% additional mana and 30 health. But you can actually find a very nice ring that provides you with +1 to all attributes. I sadly have not had the luxury to find this one. If anyone knows how to obtain this one, please comment down below. It would help out greatly. And for the shield, go with the highest block, parry and durability shield you can find. I really like the Shield of Light because of the visuals, but alternatively you can go with a Ethereal Plane Ward, which is a shield that does not have an animation if you're not blocking, but comes out if you block. This one is a magic shield for wizards. The difference here is the parry power is higher and you get shroud resistance, which is really nice in the end game. However, the block mitigation is much lower. As for the Shield of Light, you can craft this one. Next up, the spells. We are going to use multiple spells here. So for the early game, you want to use the Fireball spell. You can craft later on the Eternal Fireball spell, which is basically the same as the regular one with a higher radius in damage. Then you have the Acid Bite, which is basically the same Poison Carpet as the regular spell, deals double the damage. Eternal Ice Bolt, you can also craft a higher damage version, which is basically the same as the one you get at the start of the game. And you can also craft the Eternal Light Burst, which looks like this. This one is only obtainable through crafting, has a really short range, but is very effective in clearing out critters and enemies that swarm you. It pushes back some enemies, so if you're getting swarmed by Swiss bombers, you can use this one to push them back and avoid the explosion. The next spell is a nuke ability. You target a ground, then you push the button and the meteor comes down. It is short range, clears out a little hole in the ground, which stays like this, looks really cool, is really powerful. However, it's a pain to craft, so you need to farm this one in chests. Which brings me to the next one, which is the Lightning Channel. This one is really cool. It strikes the ground with electric tendrils while you're channeling. You can target an enemy or object, you channel it, and it's gone. 5 spells just gone like that. The mana consumption is extremely high, but you also deal a ton of damage. For this spell specifically, you can craft it at the Alchemist. However, it's also very expensive, so you want to farm this one in chests. It's very effective versus the strongest enemies in the game, those flyers that are throwing sickles at you and are casting their gigantic skull that's dealing a ton of damage, so you can nuke those enemies with this spell. So there is quite a bit of variety. As for your healing spell, the Healing Channel is the best one. It's a little bit harder to pull off versus some enemies that are really annoying to deal with because they're very fast, but you can use this one to heal. As for the moveset with this weapon, all light weapons have the same 1, 2, 3 combo. So I will show you 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. There is no difference, which is quite sad. What you can do is 1, 2, 3, dash, and evade attack. This is your bread and butter combo. It works versus a lot of enemies. However, for melee characters, you need to target the enemy with shift, so you're locked onto them. Otherwise, you can jump in a different direction and miss your evade strike. Now, for how you want to deal with specific enemies, like the toxic fat guys, use your carpet, the poison carpet, run behind them, attack them a few times, dash away with your blink, behind cover, and do it again. You are a hit and run playstyle in the endgame. You can tank some enemies, but it's much better to just hit and run them, use your spells, weave in your range attacks into the enemy, so they go down a lot more efficiently. Next, let's talk about the skill tree progression. We have 114 points at our disposal, and we're going to start with the merciless attack, which is our parry. So if you stagger an enemy, you can parry them for a huge amount of damage, which you need to utilize. It is a powerful ability, and I highly recommend picking this one up, especially early. Afterwards, go with 1 point in constitution here and here. Grab the shiny plates for a little bit more physical damage armor. Then pick up the evasion attack and then battle heal. On a critical strike, you will heal 5% of your maximum health. Since our health pool is massive, at this point with 13 constitution and no buff food, we are sitting around 870 health. That's a lot. With buff food, we can get to 1000 health. So keep that in mind, that's really important. Next, to complete our combo, we're going to pick up Absorb and then Blink. Blink attack deals a little bit of damage, so it is, especially early on, a really nice attack, and Emergency Blink will get you out of trouble really efficiently. The boss especially, or the cats, can stun you, stun lock you, because there are multiple enemies and you cannot get out without the stun break, so picking up Blink is really important for a melee character, especially fitting for this class. Next, we're going to pick up the Healer, Healer 2, Intelligence, Water Aura, and Waters of Life to get our passive region up and running. You pick up the Intelligence right here and the Intelligence right here to scale this one, and you should be immortal at this point in the game. Doesn't matter if you deal a little bit less damage, but for now that's going to be the best thing you can do. Then we're going to pick up the Constitution right here, which is in the Warrior cluster, the Warrior's Path, the Strength here, Slasher, Butcher, because we're dealing a lot of cutting damage with swords and axes. Pick up Veteran to increase our crit strike chance. Then pick up Swift Blades. This is absolutely amazing. It's one of the best things you can pick. We are now going to progress with Constitution, Strength and Constitution here to increase our health pool and start stacking a little bit of strength. Feast will give us 15% additional health. However, we don't want to pick this one yet. At this point, we want to pick up Endurance, Runner, and Double Jump, as well as Endurance and Wanderlust. This will enhance our traversal immensely. You can now do this combo, Double Jump and Glide. It will increase your mobility immensely. It's one of the best ways to do this in this game. At this point, we are also going to use our spells quite a lot. So what we are going to do is pick up Spirit, Counter Strike. So if we are getting hit, we can reflect 50% of the damage, which is huge. Enemies are now dealing a lot of damage, so this one comes in very handy. Pick up Quick Charge for a 50% reduced staff charge up for spells. This is really important. Spells at higher ranks take a lot more time to cast. So Eternal Acid Bite takes 3 seconds without this perk, but 1.5 with. So you can fire this one a lot more quickly. At this point, I want to enhance our mining and well rested buffs. So well rested is a really nice way to do this. And we pick up Mason. We are going to do a lot of mining. Sulfur, amber, iron ore, bronze ore, tin ore, well, copper ore, not bronze ore, but you're going to mine a lot. So having Mason with 40% more damage versus those objects will increase your enjoyment with the game quite substantially. And next we're going to finish with Strength, Heavy-Handed, Strength, Constitution, Breach, and Shockwave. So when we break the stance of an enemy, we deal 100% more damage to them, melee damage at that. And if we overpower them, which is the Merciless Attack, we now strike with a Shockwave, which deals a considerable amount of AoE damage. And then we finish up with the Constitution here, the Strength here, grab the Intelligence here, 1 point in Endurance right here, 1 Strength here, and that should be it. That's 114 points. The thick skin is potentially good, but you get 3 Constitution, for 5 points here. I don't think that's good. That's 150 additional health, but we should not really need this one. You could potentially sacrifice the well-rested buff, as well as 1 endurance and potentially 1 strength here to get that additional health if you really want it, but I do not recommend it. Same for the intelligence. You can sacrifice something, but I think this skill tree is nearly perfect. You can face tank quite a lot of stuff with this one. Now we can further optimize this build for a variety of buffs and consumables. First, you get your comfort up to not run out of stamina. Next, consume some juicy meat. Early on, chunks of wolf meat, later on game meat. And after that, you can also grill chicken meat, which can be found in the desert biome or in the savanna biome. Next up in the early game, you want to use berries to get the health regen, which is really important. Dry them to increase the duration. For your main stats, intelligence, use mushrooms. For strength, grill corn. Later on you will find hazelnuts, which improve your strength by 3 points. Consume elixirs for a hefty boost to damage, scrolls to increase it even further, and a variety of other options for light, more stamina, and of course healing through health potions and bandages. Those can be crafted en masse at the alchemist by combining water, berries and mushrooms. So those are the light potions. Later on you will also need berries. For the 400 heal potions and the 800 heal potions are something special, and you don't really need to worry about those. They are quite resource heavy. As for the endgame food, it's a bit more complicated than that. You should save up for the truly hard content when using those in the Kindle Waste. Here you get access to +5 stat food as well as amazing regeneration food. For strength you have the open sandwich, which is considered a meat. For intelligence you have the glow soup. Alternatively you can use the meat wrap for 1+ intelligence and 5 constitution. However, this one is not stackable with the strength food because both are considered meat. For healing, which is quite amazing, you can use the fruit bowl, which can stack with the intelligence food. Otherwise use the boiled eggs. So for my budget food, I'm going to use the grilled sand digger. Then I'm going to pop the fruit bowl and lastly the glow soup, all of which stack. Like I said, for the meat slot, you can alternatively use chicken meat, which is the raw bird meat. You need to grill this one. This one gives you a duration of 30 minutes, but only 3 constitution. And for the best meat craft, the open sandwich is the way to go. So strength and constitution. Now this sums up the video. If you happen to enjoy it, make sure to drop a like. If you have any questions or remarks, make sure to comment down below. You can also subscribe if you have not already, and make sure to join the channel membership to support me some more. As for my thumbnail art, you can check out my Patreon. I use AI art and upload it right there if I use any. So see you next time and bye.